Alright, this video is going to be on the third read of our 4-read strategy. I have the same piece of evidence that I've done my first and second reading of. The key element when I start to think about my third read is, do I already know the perspective? Do I already know the point of view or the main idea of this piece of evidence? So from my second read, I was able to determine that this piece of evidence is telling me that the opportunities that America's first factories provided for young women did outweigh the hardships that they experienced there. Keeping that in mind, I'm going to be looking on my third read for quotes or for pieces of evidence that I can use to support this claim, to support this side. So as I go through, I'm going to be looking for quotes, keeping that in mind. Another great source of pleasure in the factories is that by becoming operatives or people who operate machinery, we are often enabled to assist older parents who have become too sick to provide for themselves, or perhaps to educate some orphan brother or sister, and prepare them for future usefulness. I think this is the best quote in there. I say I'll start it with we, and what I'll do is I will actually break out the highlighter for now. I'm going to start my quote with, we will often be enabled to assist older parents who have become too sick to provide for themselves, or perhaps to educate some orphan brothers or sisters and prepare them for future usefulness. And that is going to be my first quote for this pro side. So what I'm going to do on the margin right next to it is I'm going to write P1, meaning that this is my first pro quote that comes out of this piece of evidence. And I'm going to make a little list in the bottom here, or if you need more space, you can do this on the back. And I'm going to say, what type of argument does that support? So it says, we are often able to assist older parents who have become too sick to provide for themselves, or perhaps to educate some orphan brother or sister. So they're able to assist them because they're making enough money. So an opportunity to earn money. So potentially, if I think about down the line, if I were to be writing an essay, I could potentially have a paragraph, and this quote would fall into the topic of a paragraph about the opportunity to make money. Let's see what other quotes I could find. And is there no pleasure? Is there no pleasure in this? No pleasure in relieving the distress and removing their heavy burdens. And is there no pleasure in rendering ourselves by such acts worthy the confidence and respect of those with whom we are associated? And last but not least, is the pleasure of being associated with the institution of religion and thereby providing ourselves of the library, Bible class, Sabbath school, and other means of religious instruction. I am going to highlight, I'm going to say providing ourselves of the library, Bible class, Sabbath school, and other means of religious instruction. So here, this will be P2. And this quote is saying that they have the opportunity to practice religion. Most of us, when at home, live in the country and therefore cannot enjoy these privileges to the same extent, and many of us not at all. And surely we ought to regard these sources of pleasure. Okie doke. So I'm just going to actually make a note as I start to go into my fourth read, or start to think about that. This could potentially be a quote. When at home, live in the country and therefore cannot enjoy these privileges. Enjoy these privileges. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put that in as P3. And my reason can be that living in the city provides opportunity. All right, so I was able to find 3 quotes in here that could potentially, I could potentially use to argue the perspective that the opportunities did outweigh the hardships. Next up is going to be the final read, the 4th read. So watch that video next.